Hello and welcome to Mindset. My name is Chantel Fitzgerald and your host. And as you know, on Mindset, we interview industry leaders at the top of their field to learn about how did they get there, what were their challenges and struggles along the way, and their mindset to push through. And boy, do we have an exciting group of entrepreneurs for you today. This is actually close to my heart. People I grew up with, people that went to the same high school as me, started a business in their college years, and 22 years later, it is going strong and doing phenomenally well. It is Domain Computer Services. Here we have Michelle and Rashaad Bajwa, who are the co-founders and CEO of Domain Computer Services. So please welcome my good friends, people I haven't seen in a while. It's been a long time, so thank you guys so much for being here. I'm super excited to learn about your business, how you've grown it from being in college all the way till now. We were just talking, it's 22 years old, it's a young adult and thriving today. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
We're absolutely thrilled.
Completely appreciate it. And you're right. It's we have 3 children and Domain is our oldest child now at 22 years. So,
yes.
so happy to share the story.
Yes, absolutely. So let's dig in a little bit. So Michelle, tell us a little bit about how Domain Computer Services got started.
So it's a long story because it goes back more than 20 years. But when I attended Rutgers University, I had designs to be medical, in pre-med. So I hit organic chem, said nope, no thank you, can't do it. Changed majors, ultimately to go to pre-law. Started working in a law firm. In that process, it was like the mid-90s, and the internet was just being invented. Things where people were understanding how to Google it. No, Google wasn't even there, but Yahoo things and things like that. Anyhow, I had a knack for software. So as I was working in this law firm, I realized a lot of the things they were doing, they were filling out forms and typing things out on typewriters, and it just seemed very antiquated to me. So I offered to automate their documents and sort of duplicate them on Microsoft Word or WordPerfect, whatever you were using. At that same time, I thought, oh, hey, why don't we collaborate in some way? But there was no networking. Anyway, long story short, Rashaad and I were very good friends at that time, and he was working in internal IT. He got a speeding ticket. I worked for an attorney. We had no money for any.
It's a barter deal.
It was a barter deal, and then so you could tell.
So we're 19, 20 years old, something along those lines. I'm at Rutgers as well.
Yes, you guys went to school together.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. So we went to West Windsor, Plainsboro High School.
Yes.
Shout out there.
I know, go Pirates.
That's right. That's right. And then both went to Rutgers, and so got this speeding ticket. Complaining about it to Michelle and in her office, and the lawyers said, well, we think we can help you out with this. This is like no big deal. It's like not a big issue at all. And so we worked out a barter deal, and we said, by the way, there's this new thing called the internet, and you can do legal research on it. You can do all sorts of stuff. And so I came in over the weekend, networked their office. Michelle was able to help automate some of their systems. And to make a very, very long story short, the prosecutor was already our client as well.
Oh, wow. How awesome is that?
Because they just referred to other lawyers and to other lawyers and to other lawyers.
Yes.
And so to this day, we still have more lawyers as our clients than any other IT services firm in the state because of that history going back
20 years.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So, Rashaad, tell us a little bit about what inspired you to go into IT. What was it, especially in the beginning stages of IT? Was it just because it was like a new field? What was your inspiration to get into this anyway?
Sure. So my plan was actually very similar to Michelle in that one of the most surprising things I think a lot of people find out after the fact is Michelle was an English major. I was a political science and philosophy major.
Oh, wow.
So, and back then there wasn't IT, there was just computer science programming if you wanted to get into computers, but I'd always just dabbled in technology. But I think most importantly, I was an entrepreneur. And, I didn't know I was necessarily an entrepreneur at the time, but as a very young kid, I always had business ideas. I had a paper route from when I was 12 to wanting to sell computers and trees and all sorts of crazy stuff throughout my high school years. And so it was really the entrepreneurship bug, and then serendipity. And the serendipity is speeding ticket, technology. You want to talk about a good time to get into technology, late 90s,
Yes.
right before 2000.
Yes.
And so if you're an entrepreneur, you're looking for opportunity. And so, one of the big things is you got to put yourself out there. You got to take risks.
Totally.
Educated risks, hopefully.
Yes.
And so the cool thing was when we're seniors at Rutgers, you don't have a lot of responsibility. And so we had the luxury of being able to take that risk and give it a shot. And now 22 years later,
Yeah.
Thriving business.
That's right.
Amazing. So I want to go back to something that you guys said about taking the risk and putting yourself out there. Where do you find the confidence, and how were you able to put yourself out there for the risk of failing, for the risk of maybe making mistakes and just completely failing and falling flat? What gave you the courage and the confidence to put yourself out there?
Well, Rashaad and I are very, very different people. He's extroverted.
we have very different takes on this.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
extroverted.
I
I'm
would love to hear
introverted.
both of your takes,
Yeah,
indeed.
He's a risk taker. I'm risk adverse. Somehow we made it. I think it was a good balance in personalities. I'm very process oriented, and Rashaad is the one who's out there, sort of throwing ideas out there, saying, "All right, let's try this, this, and this." And then from my point of view, the hard work was already done in the sense that he thought of that difficult idea,
Yeah.
and then I think of ways to try to implement it.
Yes.
So way back in college, like Rashaad said, we had a lot of time. We had classes, but at the same time, we were in a mental state of innovation, and we were reinventing ourselves too.
Yeah.
So squeezing in consultations, doing work in between classes, working on the weekends wasn't weird for us. So when Rashaad says,
and it wasn't even risky, it was fun, it was
no.
exciting.
Yeah.
It's like you're doing something new.
We were creating something,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And we also were just about to graduate and thought, wow, we're making money, real money, and we can pay off our loans and we can sort of make our own rules. And for us, that was exciting, even though we do come from very different mental places.
Sure.
So in that way, as I've grown older, I've learned how to embrace getting myself out there. And Rashaad always says, fortune favors the bold. And so, just trying to be out, not be so insecure, think.
Everyone's got
Yeah.
crazy insecurities
Right.
in their head, and most people, it keeps them on their sofa or out of the kind of the environment where they can get exposure to things. And so, one of the other things now, 22 years in, so we have Domain, we have a couple of other businesses that we've done, and having done this a couple of times, one of, I think, the big misconceptions is that entrepreneurs are these crazy risk takers. You do definitely have to have an appetite for risk, there's no doubt about it. But the successful entrepreneurs also are really good at managing risk, meaning when we have an idea, it's one thing, but the ones we actually move forward with, the 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever the number is, there's 100 other that have been discarded.
Yeah.
And they have been evaluated based on a kind of market opportunity, how difficult is this, do I have the skills, do I have the time, do I have the temperament, all of that sort of stuff has to get resolved first. And so then what ends up happening is the successful entrepreneurs, more often than not, they like the action, there's no doubt about it, but they're not crazy people, meaning they're moving forward with a strategy, because it really is about execution. And so I think that's a key part. And so, and going back to fortune favors the bold, speeding ticket, did that first law firm. The next referral that we got was a much larger law firm. And it's, you have to be 19 years old, figure out, okay, I have this huge opportunity in front of me. Do I just cower? Or do I know? I put on the suit that my parents bought me. Do some research on kind of what the going rates for things are. Put together a proposal, even though you've never done this before in your life.
Right.
Sit in a room with attorneys who are at that age, 30, 40 years older than you. Who knows? Put it in front of a presentation. Basically, you have to have gall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to have the stomach to be able to take it. And that's a big part of it. But then do it in an educated, responsible way.
Right. And to have the guts to go out there at 19 years old, talking to corporate lawyers and telling them about the opportunities that you have to help them with their IT technology internally. That's bold.
Oh yeah.
And not to say that we weren't scared. I mean, maybe Rashaad not so much, but I definitely was terrified.
Yes.
But I thought to myself, I'm prepared. I've thought of all the different ways I'm going to do this project, and for me, preparation is key.
Yes.
So if I was able to come in and sort of gauge what questions I would be asked, it gave me a sense of confidence and security. I've never been one to just go in and wing things. So that is definitely something that helped me prepare for that challenge.
Yes. And how did it help prepare you, or how did you prepare?
Well, so I definitely had, more bravado, I think, to go out there. But, one of the biggest things back then, I remember, and this is kind of, for a long time, this was a regular issue. We were so young, and we looked young, or we potentially looked. So one of the biggest things in my favor was, a lot of my friends told me I looked 35 for like 20 years. Now,
That's great.
Now I don't have to hide my age.
He was going prematurely gray.
Yeah, because
Since he was 16.
I was going prematurely gray, and now I just have no hair. But it was, being able to show value, make sure that you know what your strengths are, putting those out in front. I knew I was smart. I knew we were smart. I knew we had solutions that were going to dramatically change these environments. And then, the weaknesses that you have, and at that time it was just, I hope they don't find out we're kids.
Right,
We didn't want to be perceived as inexperienced or immature.
Yes.
So that having that certain poise, it was a really hard challenge to find that balance of, okay, I don't know what I'm talking about, and I do know what I'm talking about, but when I don't know what I'm talking about, let's not have them lose faith in us. And so we learned how to be very honest about things that we didn't know, but also say, you know what, let me get back to you on that. And say that with confidence and actually have the accountability to get back to them instead of just letting it hang.
Yes.
So a lot of that was, I know that you're an expert in emotional, intelligence. So that was something that we were perfecting, and not perfecting, but trying to work on
exactly,
and just trying to be aware of how is that person going to receive the good or bad news that I'm telling them, and not just deliver it in a way that makes me feel comfortable. How are they going to feel comfortable? And so that's something that we really impress upon our current staff and our children.
That's right, absolutely. And so to this day, kind of a core principle across the board that we use all the time is reputation is your wealth.
Yes, that's so good. Let me pause this right here because we have to go to commercial break, but I would love to get more into reputation is your wealth, but also how, and then I also want to switch over to Apprentice IT and how you guys are giving back to New Jersey and IT, young adults that are trying to get into IT and so much more. So stay tuned. We have to run to break, but we will be right back here with Michelle and Rashaad shortly. See you soon.
Medicare coverage can be a very confusing and complicated process. Help is just a phone call away. 856-226-4800. As a licensed insurance agent, I'll assist you in making an informed and confident decision on a Medicare plan that meets your needs, lifestyle, and budget. Call me today for a free, no obligation Medicare benefits consultation. 856-226-4800.
When did you see the sign?
When I needed to create a better visitor experience.
Improve our workflow.
Attract new customers. That's when Fast Signs recommended Fleet Graphics.
Yeah, now business is rolling in. Get started at fastsigns.com.
What do I want to be when I grow up? Maybe a musician? A veterinarian? Maybe an equestrian? A mommy? Well, why not be all these things and more? Consider joining me, Dr. V, with friends and colleagues as we explore a wide range of topics together. V is for variety, here on RVN TV.
There you go, Richard. Oh! Is that too hard for you?
No. Is it too hard for you?
Woo! We're playing catch now. Oh, shit.
Hello and welcome back to Mindset. We are here with Michelle and Rashaad Bajwa. They are founders of Domain Computer Services, and we were just getting into having the conversation around reputation is your wealth. And we were also going to get into the fact that, first of all, we know you guys are a married couple, started this business together, you have 3 kids, and also learning how you balance one another, but also balance family life, work life, but also and how you give back to society. So I know we have a lot to cover in just a brief amount of time, so let's dig in. You had just mentioned reputation is your wealth. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So as we had said, we had started when we were so young with Domain.
Yes.
And we found that we had to overdo it. We had to be more mature, more responsible, make sure that our clients are when we had employees, give them faith and confidence in us. And so we found out very early that we could try to convince people how good we are, but our actions spoke louder than anything else. And in particular, that cumulative effect of our actions, how we did for our existing clients, how we did for our current employees, spoke volumes. And miraculously, we found that we got more and more success the more we focused on our reputation. And so kind of one of the lines we like to share with all of our staff and also in some of the other organizations that we've started is obsessing about our reputation, making sure that we're always exceeding expectations of everyone that we interact with, whether it be our friends, whether it be our coworkers, or whether it be our clients. And building on that has kind of been the secret behind Domain to a large extent.
That is so good. I love that. Yeah, going above and beyond for your clients, for your employees, but for everybody around you so that they can refer you and also know that you guys provide such amazing, fantastic service. So that's amazing and fantastic. Thank you. And tell us a little bit about how, Michelle, actually, how do you balance, I know work-life balance is always a tough issue, right? And then
it's a struggle for everyone.
Struggle for everyone. Indeed. And I love just being here with you guys today. I mean, I feel like I love the balance between the two of you. You know, you're process oriented. He's, you know, idea man.
He's idea
and,
guy.
you know, and you guys balance each other very well.
You need that balance.
You totally
in
do.
the house as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in the house, we actually reverse roles. And so in the house, I'm sort of the louder one. I'm telling everyone where to go. And then he relaxes and he socializes and plays with the kids and does all that stuff. I mean, I guess I'm still process oriented at home, but definitely I'm the one who's like, all right, this is where we're going. This is the agenda. Yeah. In terms of balance with the children, I just try to take it one step at a time. When we have 3 kids, and so the jump from 1 to 2 children was very difficult for me, and the multitasking and all of feeding two people at once, including my husband and myself, it was very difficult. So around that time, I took up yoga, and through that process, I learned how to start to be mindful, how to breathe into the moment, how to be present. Yes. If you're worried about everything that's going to happen 20 minutes, 30 minutes from now, you're actually stealing from your current existence. So that I really lean on when I'm challenged with the work-life balance. That whole Sheryl Sandberg lean into all of your pain, all your joy, that I really do practice. I'm very much a believer in that. So that's what I do. I just try to take it one step at a time and plan things out. Self-care really helps.
Yes, so important.
Yep. So just having something that you master outside of caring for others, meaning, and I know it almost sounds selfish, but have some other activity that you can own and you can master on your own. And so that I continue to practice yoga. So that's really how I find that balance and that mental endurance to keep up with home and work.
Yeah, no, and I love that you have other activities that you can hone in on, other hobbies like running and yoga. Now, Rashaad, how do you keep the balance?
Yeah. So very different.
We're different people.
Very different. So right out of the gate, though, I want to be more of a yogi. Right?
Yeah.
I want to be a yoga practitioner. I'm not though. And I used to always say, okay, so Michelle is into mindfulness and knows how to, yoga and all of this sort of stuff. And I had always thought that I was in a little bit of a different world. But then when we started researching it more and we started talking about it, and we actually, most importantly, we wanted to model it for the people around us, whether it be our staff or our kids or our family and friends. I realized actually mindfulness is a critical part of me as well. It's just my mindfulness is very different.
Yeah.
So it's similar to, if you've read, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance or
yes, I'm familiar with that
Art
book.
of Archery or something like that. It's not that you have to just quiet your mind and go into a trance. That's not necessarily what you have to do.
No, yeah.
But it is about being present.
Yes.
And it's about having focus. And so for me, when I am in my Zen moment, is at work or with the kids. It can be with the kids, but it's a very different type of practice. But just for the purposes of today, let's talk about work. When I'm dealing with a difficult problem, when there is stress and there's chaos, I actually find my Zen moment in being able to be a chaos pilot, meaning I see the stuff going around me and I relish in that I have the ability, or hopefully I have the ability, to maintain focus on what's important now.
Yeah.
Let's not panic and then somebody's hair is on fire and somebody's going this way. And so being able to be mindful in those situations are where I actually, believe it or not, I center myself.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
He has a lot of perspective in chaos, which is wonderful for me because I don't all the time. Right?
And don't get me wrong, I don't seek out chaos.
No.
I don't want chaos.
No.
Similar to I guess there's plenty of like firefighters and stuff like that. You don't want to set fires in order to have to act. But still, the reality is the world will give you this stuff. And there's a lot of people in the world who panic and do not have focus and cannot quiet their minds. But when you can, it's very invigorating.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I love that. And I'm curious, where did that come from? If you don't call yourself a yogi or a practitioner of meditation, how do you, and what you're describing is so key in terms of a leader too, to be calm in the midst of chaos and be able to step back and see it all happening with a clear mind, with clear focus and clarity to say, this is what we need to do.
That's right. And I would love to tell you that I'm perfect at it. I'm so not. And so where did it come from? I think it's definitely been modeled to me, meaning I think I've seen it in other leaders and been like, wow, that is impressive.
Yes.
I want to be like that.
Yeah.
And then hearing their stories, figuring out how they dealt with it, understanding how that calm, noble, strong, it manifested everything that I wanted to be for years. I'm sure there's a lot of panic, and then when it works out okay, you're like, whew. Okay, but everyone thought I was calm and cool. So it develops over time.
I think one thing that he may not realize that he does is when we are in a chaotic situation, he's actually mapping out all the different scenarios that could have happened but didn't happen. And I think that when he has that top-down view, he realizes, wow, it could have been this much worse. And it gives him a lot of perspective when it comes to problem solving. And in chaos, when you don't know what's going to happen, being able to map out all those different possible outcomes gives you a lot of power.
Wow.
And it makes you thankful.
So he always will say to me, we're very charmed.
I've won every lottery already.
And so it's something that I've definitely, he's kind of imparted on me too, that gratefulness. If something happens that you didn't plan for, think about what you could be grateful for. And that really, really calms that emotion down.
Totally. Gratitude is such a powerful force of an attitude for sure. That is fantastic. We do have to wrap up. I know our time has gotten it goes by so fast. But tell us maybe just real quick, maybe Michelle, about your apprentice IT in just a brief moment, and then also, Rashaad, how can people get in contact with you guys as well, with whether it's computer or with domain computer services or apprentice IT and other things?
So I'm actually going to let Rashaad speak for apprentice IT because he's the idea guy.
Yeah.
So
perfect.
This was his brainchild. So please.
So, you know, one of the biggest issues we have in the country right now is the skills gap, where we have so many jobs that we need people to fill, and unfortunately in the US, people are not skilled up. So bad that we had to go overseas, to Philippines, to India, so on and so forth, in order to find the people to fill those skills. And it's not just savings of money. Those people are actually getting pretty expensive in India. You can actually get lower cost people in the Midwest now. And so we wanted to be able to develop talent in our backyard. And so that's what Apprentice IT was. Domain Computer Services, which is one of the largest IT providers in the state and New York City area now. Our biggest barrier to growth is not getting new clients, it's getting adequate staff, talented staff. And so Apprentice IT was our way in working towards that solution. So in conjunction with local colleges, Dr. Wong, who is at Mercer County College, is kind of one of the critical partners that we first started with. We started this program about a year, actually probably about 2 years
Almost 2 years ago now, yes.
now.
This summer.
And we were developing apprentices, and we are now the first Department of Labor certified, registered IT apprenticeship in the state of New Jersey.
Wow.
Maybe in the country, I don't know, but definitely in New Jersey. And the point here is we are giving students an opportunity to get their foot into a career ladder.
Yes.
Because, an area that I skipped over real quick, how Domain started, I had an internship at Novo Nordisk in their IT department 4 years ago. Somebody gave me an opportunity. That's how I got into IT. I could have been a lawyer right now. Now that may have been worked out okay, but
and so you want to give more opportunities to everyone, or to those that are interested in following the path. Amazing. We do have to wrap up. Tell us, Rashaad, how can people contact you about computer domain services as well as Apprentice IT? If there's young people watching that are really interested in wanting to get involved, feel free to tell our audience.
Perfect. So Domain Computer Services is go-domain.com if you're in the need for best-in-class IT or cybersecurity services in New Jersey or New York City. Apprentice IT, it's in conjunction with a lot of local schools. So talk to your local school if you're a college student and see if they're already involved with us on the program. Otherwise, go to apprenticeitnj.com. That's apprenticeitnj.com. Check out our story, and if you feel like you're a good fit and you want to get into IT, we might be a good place for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for being on the show. This always flies by so fast. I am so grateful that you were on the show. You gave such incredible nuggets of your story, working together as a couple, as CEOs and founders of Domain, and how you're giving back to our community as well. So it's been such a pleasure having you here. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Chantal.
Thank you so much. And thank you all so much for joining us as well. We look forward to seeing you right here on Mindset at 2 o'clock on Mondays. See you soon.